Thank you all for coming. My name is Chris, and with me here is Kelly. And today we are going to talk about marketing best practices. And they're going to be like generally focused on sort of iGUIDE, obviously, but some of them are sort of a little bit broader. And I think
generic.
Yeah, they're kind of general. And they're just like our hot take on sort of some marketing activities you should engage in. So there's some beginner stuff. There's some more advanced stuff. We're not going to go into any great detail on any one thing. All right, cool. Okay. So we picked 10. But why did we pick 10 things, Kelly?
Because 10 is a good number.
People like a good top 10, right? Is that the idea?
Yep. People like a good top 10. 5 wasn't enough, and anything more than 10 feels like
right. 5 seems lazy. 10 feels like a bit too much, but that's okay. We're going to deal with it now. Okay. We're going to start with number 10 and we're going to work up to 1. We're going to discuss as we go. Okay. Number 10. And this are like opinions. There's no one right answer for sort of best practices for iGUIDE, but we're folding in a lot of knowledge from the year. Okay. So number 10 is outsource and use scheduling tools. Now I know this is weird because you're like, Chris, why aren't you talking about iGUIDE? Because a lot of what you do requires time. Okay. And you have to get that time from somewhere. So if you're busy and you are up until, I don't know, 2 a.m. every night, you are not going to be super fussy about taking advantage of every opportunity that comes your way because you're exhausted.
True.
So there are a lot of different ways to get time back. I just picked the most really obvious ones, but I feel like this contextualizes the rest of the list, right? If you can make time by saving time, then you might have enough time to do some of the other things that I'm going to suggest. But I'll give you
that was a lot of time in one sentence.
Just get some, or you can spend that time with your family, or you can work on your business. Your call. So outsource. Balance. I'm specifically maintain some balance, make your life better. But outsourcing, I'm specifically referring to basically photo editing. It's a really tough thing to outsource, and it's for some people it's easy. And that's awesome for you, good for you. But for some people, it's really hard. But this is a great time of year to be investigating that. Mm-hmm. It's a big time sink initially. You have to like send samples to people and then they send them back. And it takes a while to find someone who's good. So, it's worth it, to be honest. It means you can work more. You have more time to grow your business. You have more time to work on like the business part of your business, which is getting new clients. And so marketing is all about generating leads and getting new clients. So everything on this list, if I hadn't mentioned already, the goal is to get people to hire you more. It's things you should
grow your business.
Exactly. To grow your business and get more leads. So outsourcing is awesome for that because that literally just saves you time. If you're not editing a property and someone else is, that frees you up. Scheduling tools are very cool. There's lots of different ones out there. I don't have any suggestions off the top of my head. I should have come up with one. But scheduling tools, what I'm referring to are scheduling your appointments in a day and using tools to monitor that and to keep you on track for efficiency. So I can't remember who has it. I'm not going to say any names, but there are companies out there that have semi-intelligent scheduling tools that will attempt to schedule your appointments close together geographically. And then there are lots of other things I'm not mentioning. So maybe you have a very slow computer, and this is the time of year to be going out. Maybe Black Friday was the right time, but whatever. Maybe this is the time of year to be really refining your hardware setup so that your editing time and your time when you're working on your computer is faster. That's another kind of weird example. So, outsourcing and scheduling tools are like my go-tos, but there's lots of different ways to try to save time. And if you can save that time, you can then funnel that into other activities. What do you think, Kelly? Are these a good idea?
Yeah, I was just saying, review your business. Now is the right time to kind of look at your business. What are all of the tasks that you have to do? What do you want to keep and what don't you want to keep? And then you can just start looking into how you could outsource or hire, even if it's a part-time person to help you out. Virtual assistant, customer service, figure out what you want to focus on. I don't know if this got caught where I was saying, if the editing part of your business is your thing and that's part of your competitive advantage, then maybe don't outsource that part, but find something else that you can outsource. Because when you're busy, you don't have time to do all the things, and you don't want to get burnt out to the point where quality is suffering, your customers are suffering, any of that. So you have to expand in some way if your business is going to expand. And it can be a hard line to find when to do that, but now's the time to start looking at it and say, well, I'm not ready to do that now, but if I reach this amount in sales, then this is where I will start to look at outsourcing. So yeah, that was a good time to start.
Very good year-end stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, save time so that you can spend more time on growing your business. Okay, number 9. That was a really long number 10. We need to move faster.
It was, yeah. Eye on map.
Eye on map. Get on the map. So here, I'll show you guys where to go. Go to goiguide.com, click find a service provider, which is a big button right at the top of the website. So that's why this works, because everybody sees it. And then there's like a link right here. Click here to start, and you just fill it out.
So it is obviously an online form. It gets submitted to us. It's not an automatic process. So give us a couple of days to receive it and actually add it in. I know it looks like it's all automated, and it goes to a human, and then a human actually enters all this information in to the portal on our back end. So just so you know, if you submit it today and it's not there by tomorrow morning, there's nothing wrong. We did get it.
Just in case you don't know, what happens with this map is that locationally you'll get little pins, and those pins will direct people to be able to contact you if they want to order an iGUIDE. In case that wasn't totally obvious.
Yeah, and we still do regularly get people that want to order an iGUIDE and come directly to us. And we just forward them onto the map.
Send them the map. And anecdotally, people love this map. They tell me all the time. I forget it exists. They're like, oh no, it's great. I get lots of leads. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's an easy one.
Next one. Let me just move this out of the way and go here. Can you see this iGUIDE I'm looking at?
Yes.
All right. So the iGUIDE is a content delivery platform. And if you use it as such, you will raise the value of this thing you are providing. And then theoretically, more people will see the value and they'll want to buy it. So what I mean by that is an iGUIDE on its own is pretty good, but an iGUIDE with photos, video, and potentially tags is better. So use the iGUIDE, use the strength that is built into the iGUIDE as a overall content delivery platform. And people will obviously want to order more. The idea with creating something that people want more of is to get them to see the value in that thing.
Yeah.
And helping people see that the photos is the best example on video. If you put photos in the iGUIDE, photos just resonate with people. They just get it, and video as well, obviously. So you can help, improve the visibility on your video and improve the perception of the iGUIDE by putting them together. That's what we've noticed over the years, is that when we put them together, it's a winning combo and it's fantastic. So that's what you should do. So other types of content you can add to this video. There's branded and unbranded video, actually, which is quite cool. I think tags is a good one. You can add any type of tag you can imagine to space in the property. So that's images, video, anything you like. And then obviously photos. You spend so much time taking really amazing photos. You want people to see them. So give them a chance. What do you think, Kelly? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, all the way.
I'm going to ask your opinion after everything I say. Like, what do you think?
I got that. Yeah, I got that.
What are your thoughts? All right, the next one, super simple. Brand your iGUIDE, but do it properly.
What?
So if you look down in any iGUIDE, you're going to see this Pano branding image. Hey, cool. Most people know that, and they put the image in. If you haven't, do it. So this one just says iGUIDE because I made this tour, so that's why it says that. But obviously, you would want to put your logo here. So what your goal, right, is to get eyes on your logo, to get people to recognize your brand. So when your iGUIDE is out doing its thing, people would look and see, this is done by A1 photography or whatever. But the reason I say do it well is that often people will just toss like whatever they have in here. And sometimes it looks hideous. So I'm just going to give you my suggestion on what you should do. Okay. You don't have to do this. I don't want to be pushy, but I think if you just chuck a logo and it looks hideous, especially if it's like a square, it's weird. So here's what you do. Go into Photoshop. Okay. And if you have an Adobe subscription, you should have Photoshop and Lightroom. So go into Photoshop And what you do is you create a transparent background. So you just create a new, I forget what the resolution is, but it tells you in the portal. Create a new square and then copy your logo in it and put a circle behind it. And if you do that, it will look like this. And circles look good when you look down at the tripod. Squares look weird.
They
You want
do.
to get really fancy and do some kind of hexagon, that's your call. But creating a nice circle with a transparent background so that it looks like a circle is a really good idea. And I see people's logos all the time and they're just like, they'll just throw whatever they have in. And so it's just like their logo sitting on the tripod. It looks super weird. And honestly, it takes, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most to make like a nice
Yep.
circular image in Photoshop. So totally worth it. What do you
Also-
think about that, Kelly?
I think that it's a great opportunity to get your name out there in a very inconspicuous way. Fun fact, we got a call yesterday,
Those are my favorite kind of facts.
a realtor who was like, I'm not sure who shot my iGUIDE. And so we directed the customer, while we were on the phone, like, do you have the iGUIDE open? They were telling us they did. Can you scroll down and see, is there any logo on the floor? They're like, yeah. So
It
also, it does work. It does work.
That is that's a really great
But it's
story
true
to go
story.
along with
It's
that.
the true story.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I snoop iGuides all the time. I'm a bit weird, obviously, but I go on listing portals and I look, and I always look down to see who shot it, just purely
Yeah.
for curiosity's sake. It's kind of neat. Okay, so what was
Charles
that?
has
That
a
was-
question before we move on. Is there a switch to turn the logo on or off? Some realtors don't like that my branding is all over their iGUIDE. Thoughts? Like a switch to the non-branded cover up.
So there's two ways to do that. The first way is to just give them the unbranded tour. So obviously that's going to remove their branding as well. So that's not ideal in all circumstances. But if it's for MLS, that's the easy no-brainer answer. The other way to remove, there's no switch to turn it off, but you can do whatever you want. So if you want to put so it's per iGUIDE, just to be clear. For just that iGUIDE, you want to make it generic or transparent, you can just make whatever you want and put it there. So I don't have it as an example, but I did a record store and I didn't really want my logo on the floor. I was like, that's kind of weird. So because we were putting it on Street View. So I put their logo on it, which I wouldn't do for real estate, but for them, it's fine.
Yeah.
It was cool. You look down and you would just see their logo instead, or nothing at all. You can have it be whatever you want. If you want to get super fancy, you can actually put a transparent PNG 2 pixels by 2 pixels, just something to fill the space or whatever the recommended size is. And then you could just leave the tripod visible or Planix or whatever you see there. If you want to get super fancy, look out. Load it into Photoshop and you could do a content aware fill in 360 mode. That's like massive overkill, but that essentially just blurs it, which looks cool. It's like way too much work, but technically you can do that. So
put in a couple versions, then you can place the one on that for the agents who are picky, etc. Absolutely. Customizable.
Exactly, but per tour, not per scan. So I can't choose like a different one per scan, but for this entire tour,
per iGUIDE.
And then I didn't say this, but obviously you can configure it for all iGuides in your defaults. So you can go set one and it will just appear on all of them. And then if you want, you can go in and change it per
iGUIDE. Yeah.
Okay, we're cruising. So that was number 7. Now number 6. It's a perfect segue. If you haven't already, embed an iGUIDE in your website for demos. So the reason that there's a lot of reasons you want to do that. People going to your site are going to see an iGUIDE and they get to play with it right there. You don't have to click a link or anything. So that's pretty cool. But also I find it really useful when I'm trying to demo it to someone on like a device, because I often don't know a URL for an iGUIDE, right? But I do know my own website. So I can log into my website and say, hold on, I'll show you what an iGUIDE looks like. Check this out. And then I would find the page and then click full screen. And then now I can you guys see this full screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just a lot easier and more convenient for demo purposes, like when you're physically talking to someone one-on-one, if you can just remember the URL and just like type it in. I mean, if you're really super prepared, technically what you could do is you could load up a bunch of demos like on your phone as like shortcuts or whatever, but that seems like a lot of work. So embedding on a website means the way you do that is it depends on obviously the web backend. We won't get into that, but you go to the iGUIDE report and under the tools section, there's an embedding tool. And when you click on it, you're going to see that there's a code that you can copy and paste. And like I said, it's different for every website, but for the most part, copy, paste it into the back end of your website, and then it will appear on whatever page you're working on and whatever size makes the most sense. So it's super easy to use. But yeah, very handy for demoing for when you people just find your website, or when you just want to show it to someone and you don't remember complicated URLs. Okay, what do you think about that, Kelly?
I also think that this is a great opportunity for you guys to talk to your customers about embedding iGuides in their websites as well. So there's embed codes with every iGuide, of course, and then that means that your customers can do this also. So they're also letting their current and future customers know that they offer iGUIDE. And if you have a great relationship with them, maybe they'll, you can have them use your nadir, and then your branding will be in their iGUIDE as well.
Yeah.
So that would be the most ideal solution or scenario, I should say. But yeah, also a good tip for your customers as well, for them to continue to market.
That's so good. I'm so glad you said that. That makes enormous sense. So the next thing is going to sound really obvious, but we tell people all the time to do this, and we can see if they do it or not. And a lot of times they don't. So, and it's really simple. It's just share the iGuide. So what you want to do if you want people to see value in the services that you provide is you need to make sure they're using them like as much as possible. If they don't like it and they're using it, well, that's fair. It's not what you can do about that. But if they're not using it, then there's a missed opportunity there, because there's a sort of feedback loop that happens when people use something and they get positive feedback. So I'll give you an example. I take this iGuide and I share it on Facebook and I tag the real estate agent in it. And then it gets 20, 30 likes, and there's a bunch of comments. Oh, I love the property. It's so great. When someone sees that, like an agent, and they see that traffic, they go, oh, good, this thing's working. Like, look at this, right? So it's a very positive experience. So if you never have that, then, the iGuide might be doing its job really, really well on whatever listing portal it's on. And that'll be visible in the analytics, which we'll talk about in a minute, but it's not the same, right? So sharing the iGuide is critical if you want people to, if you want to retain them as clients, you want them to see the value in what it is that you're providing them. And so many times, we've shot iGuides for people and they don't really use it. They just kind of trying it out. They're like, oh yeah, floor plan's cool or whatever. They don't really see the value. So sharing it is just one way to make that really obvious. And we live in a world where, social media is a thing.
Kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Kind of, exactly.
I suppose.
Kind of a big deal. So sharing on social is pretty important. How you do it, there's lots of different ways, right? The easiest way is just to go to the share button on the iGuide, or in the iGuide report has little share buttons. Click one of them and it'll auto populate, and that's it. And there are lots of other fancier ways that you can use. And then what I find is that everyone struggles with social media unless you're just really into it. So some people, that's their life. So they're going to ask you a million questions. You don't need to worry about those people. They're going to force you to give them all the answers they need to get the most out of this. Because they're going to be like, can I make a video out of it? Can I put it on LinkedIn? Can I, so they're going to force you. It's the people who don't really struggle with social media, who you need to encourage, because it's so easy. You click a button, then you click another button, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't harp on it. Share on social. The next one, well, it's a time to think about it. Attend trade shows. So COVID made everything weird.
It did.
Just because of reasons. So trade shows were kind of dead for a really long time, but hey, now they're back.
They picked
trade
up.
Shows. Yeah, they all 100%. Yeah, it's crazy. So trade shows are a big deal. They're a great way to get in touch with people, regardless of what stage your business is at. And it requires a lot of time and forethought and budgeting sometimes for trade shows, because they're not cheap. So this is a good time of year to kind of think about it. You're going to make an investment in, I don't know what, March, something. And, you're going to have to plan for that. And do you have the time to take a day to go to a trade show? I don't know. Right. So this is the kind of thing you need to be thinking about kind of now, as opposed to maybe weeks ahead of time. Also, if you think about it early, you'll get a better spot and you'll be able to prepare a lot of your stuff. So if you haven't done trade shows before, you need business cards, backdrops, and rolly banners and all sorts of weird stuff. So you don't want to be thinking about that last minute because it's a lot of
You
work.
kind of can't think about it last minute because
Well, exactly.
a lot
Yeah,
of that
work,
has to be done in advance. Yeah. Business card, sure. But some of the other materials.
exactly. So,
Why are trade shows important, Chris? Why?
well, they're like a direct connection between you and potential customers to generate leads. Like you're not going to get that really anywhere else except maybe occasionally events like golf tournaments and open houses. I mean, yeah, those are expensive too. So whatever. But I mean, if you're gonna a trade show environment's really cool. Okay, I'll tell you why. I'm sure most of you already know this, but if you don't, trade shows are neat because you can just talk to like anybody you want. And people will just walk up to you and say, hey, what do you do? Like it's a very open, kind of cool space where you don't have to be ashamed to sell. You can just be like, oh, here, come over here. I have the coolest thing ever. I offer these 5 services and I'm really great at it, and have a look, and here's a demo. And then people they're cool with it. They just pay attention and you can get some really good leads really quick. I can't think of any other way to get a sizable quantity of leads that are qualified in one shot, because you talk to these people, you develop a rapport with them. I mean, I know it's only like a minute or whatever, but still there's no better way to do that I can think of off the top of my head. But maybe that's just because I like chatting with people. If that's not your jam, that's not your jam. But you have to work so much harder everywhere else. Trade shows almost seem like a free pass. I know they're expensive, so it's kind of like it is what it is, but I feel like they justify the ROI in a trade show can be very good if you go in with the mindset of generating leads in business and you want to like measure that and compare that cost of the trade show versus how many people you got to like hire you.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on. We're at 30 minutes, so we have to hurry up.
Next one rolls really well in from the trade show.
It does. Okay. So this is a funny one. A lot of people don't do this, but it's create an email list.
Yes.
Okay. So what are you talking about, Chris? A list of emails. I have that. I have clients, but one that you market to. So this is aspirational. This requires a fair amount of effort, but I'm on lots of mailing lists for iGUIDE service providers, and I see what they send me, and I'm always like impressed, right? So if you have a list of potential leads, whether they're hiring you or not at any given moment, if they're on your email list, you can send them communications whenever you want until they unsubscribe, until they tell you to get lost. So that means you can stay top of mind. So you can send them email updates about whatever you think is relevant. But really it comes down to sending consistent communications month after month after month. You could think of it like a newsletter, or an update, but you need to get into the headspace of making a list before you can start that marketing. So that means that maybe on your website, I can even show you an example. You have something like this. You have a little form, for more information, fill out. Or whenever you get a new client, you add them to your list. And then you keep marketing to them through email, basically until they tell you to get lost. So that means that you're gonna basically remain top of mind. Everyone is going to be out there trying to capture that business. So the more you can connect with your clients and remind them you exist, the better off you are. That's my 2 cents on that. Okay, next.
Charles has a comment. I'm the king of Excel spreadsheets of email, and Google Mail is so easy to import the addresses.
Yeah, it's not hard.
I grab the real estate pointer magazines everywhere. My girlfriend thinks I'm crazy, but I put them into Google Mail and in my MailChimp and just say hi, then add them to my lists.
Yeah, Charles, you're not crazy. That's awesome. Good for you.
No, and again, this is the time where if you're looking for new clients, you can also just go on to good old Google.
Yep.
And you can have a separate list for just customers that are not customers yet, future customers, and start marketing to them. And then you can also start planning out, how often do you actually want to communicate with them, and do that now, and then put some ideas down. Again, you need to take advantage of the time that you have now. Real estate is so seasonal. But even if you're not in real estate, now it's just the right planning time for next year to set yourself up for success. So put down ideas so that you're not in the middle of busy trying to come up with new ideas to communicate to ensure you're consistent, because consistency is really important for just like social media, any type of marketing. You have to be consistent in order to get the results that you want. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So Charles asked a really good question. Do you guys feel that emails are less effective unless you hit them constantly? Are socials overtaking this as preferred cold call method? So all communications are less effective when they're not consistent. That's from my experience. Social media needs to be consistent. It's like throwing rocks in a pond. The ripples are what matter. The rocks are gone. So I feel like it's the same with emails. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. They fulfill different purposes. They're different audiences for us.
Yeah.
We have different people. This is personal experience, so your mileage may vary, but we have different audiences who connect with us on socials versus emails. I think you should be trying to take advantage of both opportunities because they're very similar, to be honest, and they work very well together. Okay, I lost my Q&A panel. Where'd you go? It's gone. Oh, it says no questions. Do we answer them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. Cool. All right, next, SEO. So again, like this is kind of stuff that you always like procrastinate because it's total like pain in the rear end. And I'm not going to explain all of SEO, search engine optimization, for your website for you right now because we don't have time. But if people can find you online, then there's a good chance that they might hire you without you doing anything, right? So if someone goes and searches locally, like, I don't know, real estate photographer or 3D tours, I don't know, Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta, you want to be coming up for that, right? So you can research and do SEO for your website on your own. You can hire a company to do it. You can hire a company to do an audit so that then you can then do it. Like there's a lot of different options, but that is the goal. When they're saying, you know, there's a lot of different chitter chatter about SEO online and how it's dead and everything's pay to play, but that's not really true. When people are searching, they're, you know, Google wants to give people the exact information that they're looking for. So you want to make sure that your website answers the questions or is the solution to the questions people are asking. Is the answer to questions people are asking? Yeah. You know, so if someone's looking for a floor plan provider in Delaware, you want to be coming up. It's almost always like a local thing, to be honest, when you are trying to get business in a particular region or service area. But SEO is something that people don't think about very much, but it can be very helpful. And the return on investment is sort of humongous. Like ads are expensive. You can run ads all day, every day, but the returns vanish as soon as you stop paying for the ads. SEO, you put the effort in and it just pays off for like a really, really long time.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things in that. I won't go into great detail, but like there's, you know, your page speed, load times. There's obviously keyword research you can do. There's obviously image search. And then there's more search engines than just Google. YouTube's a great example. So if you create video content, properly labeling that content would be helpful so that when people go search on YouTube for, I don't know, real estate, drone video, Boston or whatever, you come up. So yeah, SEO, don't forget about that. Your website's important. It's more than just a selling tool. It's also going to help people find you. Okay, last one. This is the number one. So that was 9. So that was 2. That was number 2. This is number 1.
Number 1.
I'm trying to be dramatic and I'm so bad at it. Okay. Number 1, okay, marketing best practice. And this affects everything that you do, your website, your emails, your socials, your conversations one-on-one, is to speak to the benefits. Okay. Chris, what are you talking about?
That was more dramatic. You recovered.
I thought you brought it back. Okay. So we talk about in this business, we talk about features constantly. It's obnoxious. We're floor plans, 3D tours, square footage, room dimensions. None of that stuff really matters. Like obviously those things are important because people need to know. They'll just ask you like, oh, you do floor plans? You say yes. But really it's about the benefits. Like, why do you want a floor plan? What floor? And often people will ask you for something that they don't fully understand the benefits of. So they obviously don't see the value. We used to sell floor plans all the time because people just wanted floor plans. And, you know, you don't think like to ask them, well, how are you going to use it? Yeah. I'm going to give you a couple examples. So a 3D tour. Yes, it's a very cool thing, but why? What is the benefit? Well, okay, it depends on your industry, obviously, but a 3D tour is going to save, you know, so let's pretend I'm speaking to someone who's buying it from me, you know, is going to save you a lot of time because people can go into that tour, they can look around, they can see things. and they're less likely to waste your time. They're going to qualify themselves by calling you up. So when they do call you up, they're going to ask you important questions like, can I see the property today? I want to put in an offer, something like that. So 3D tours are a way to get information to people with less effort. Depends on the environment as well. Like if you're if you're constrained, like you can only get so many people in, sometimes it means you can get more qualified buyers information about the property than you would otherwise. Obviously, it's an online tour, like anyone in the world can see it. So that might pull buyers from a wider distance, a longer distance, like people from further afield. Anyway, so that's a benefit. So a 3D tour, yeah, cool, but it's a time saver. It saves you money. So another good one is floor plans. Like, well, what do you want floor plans for? Floor plans are awesome. They do similar to 3D tours. They are useful for understanding a property and the flow of a property, right? So that saves you time. Saves you time because people get it. They know how the house works and they understand things. Another interesting thing about floor plans, here's a benefit. It's going to help you with your listing presentation. If you're an agent, right? Floor plans are a high value item. If you want to win that listing, show them that you make floor plans, right? So that's the benefit. Win the listing. It's not the floor plans. Floor plans are just a thing. So we can keep going. We can keep going all day. Square footage information. Accurate square footage information is a requirement to list. If you want that listing up fast, you want to save time, then you need the total square footage of the house in some areas, obviously.
Yeah.
Room dimensions, save time. Don't measure the rooms yourself. iGUIDE measures them for you. You just copy and paste. It's easier. So it's really about saving time, saving money, winning listings, getting access to, or giving people access to information that helps qualify them. If you speak to those things universally, you will get people's attention and they will want to hire you because they will see the benefit. If you just kind of talk about features like floor plans and 3D tours and room dimensions, it's a little dry. People don't necessarily, we assume people see the benefits, but sometimes they don't. So it's about connecting the dots. Okay. And
again,
did I use it already? Connect the dots? Oh,
yes.
crap. That's okay. You can put it in more than once.
Oh.
So never assume at all in life, but also just that people understand why they would want something. They don't. I'm not even kidding. They totally don't. You have to spell it out for them. But if you just start with the benefits, then it's the conversation's just really.
Okay, but bonus question. Why do we need our customers to understand the benefits, Chris?
Because then they're more likely to see the value in what you're offering, and then they're more likely to hire you again.
Exactly.
Or just hire you at all,
Exactly.
So when we used to, so trade shows are really good for this, right? People walk up to you and they just say like, why should I hire you? And you're like, well, okay.
Literally.
So you can say, because I produce floor plans, I make 3D tours, and I do photos. And they go, oh, okay. And they walk away. If you say, I can save you time, I can save you money, and I can decrease the hassle for everyone involved in the transaction. I can make your life better. People are like, take my money. Awesome. What do you think about that, Kelly?
Oh my gosh, I can't with you. I agree. It's the difference between giving the customer the understanding of why they should care, the with them, as they call it, what's in it for me.
That's right.
Because if the customer doesn't understand what's in it for them, they may purchase because they think they should, or other people are doing it. But if they don't ever understand what's in it for me, they might not, they're less likely to become sticky, and they're less likely to continue to order or to, do this consistently. So it's really important that people understand what is in it for me. That's a, really big thing in marketing and sales, is communicating the benefits. The other thing I really like to encourage people to talk about with their real estate customers is, a lot of times, you guys are generally talking to the sellers. Sometimes sellers agents are buyers agents as well. A lot of the times they stick to one thing or the other. And the sellers agents don't, which blows my mind, but don't often think about the buyers. They want the buyers, but they don't always think about the buyers. And we often quote on our website the NAR report with what buyers want. What are they looking for? And with the iGUIDE and your services attached to that, you're giving the buyers what they want. And then you still have to circle it back, connect all the dots. Why should you care what the buyers want? Because the buyers are the ones who are paying your bills and giving you the commission. If you don't get a buyer, you don't sell the house, and then everybody's sad. So that's one of the big things that I like to encourage people to remind their customers, is that we need to actually be servicing not only your customers, the sellers, but also the buyers as well, for reasons that I think are pretty obvious to lots of us.
That makes sense. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to wrap it up in a minute or two. You guys have
Yeah.
any questions? Throw them in the Q&A. To your point, though, yeah, often when the property is already listed, it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to sell. So sometimes it's on to the next listing, but that can actually make for a very compelling way of communicating the benefits. It's about your brand. It's about winning that next listing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, bringing it back to buyers is always really good, because it helps kind of make a lot of the information that we provide make sense.
Well, then, and also to remind your customers, the sellers, every listing you have online is marketing for yourself, because the person that's looking online might not be ready to buy right now, but they're also looking at, hey, this real estate agent does this, and I'm interested in that. And if you're doing the bare minimum, just photos, maybe not even good photos, because you're doing it with your cell phone, why would I hire you when, Chris White over here is doing the full package with all of his other listings.
I'm the whole deal.
I think real estate agents sometimes forget that, even though your listing is online and you've got the seller customer already, every listing is an opportunity to get another customer that is a buyer and looking online, and that buyer may need to sell eventually. So got to keep it in mind, There
you go. Okay, that's it. We're done. We went over by a little, but that's not too bad.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. That's our last masterclass until...
It is. Until next year. We will be publishing a schedule sometime early January for the masterclasses for next year. Lots of exciting things coming up, so stay tuned. And happy holidays to all of you. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Take care.